We will take now the writing, okay? The literary
Miss?
analysis. Yes,
Batul is in the lobby.
I accepted everyone. I don't have any requests. Okay, so we take the writing, the literary analysis. I'll share with you. Here, girls, do you see the site?
Yes. Yes.
Here are examples of literary analysis. Examples of the literary analysis. So we will read together and we analyze them together. Ahed, are you here?
Yes, Miss, I'm here.
Ahed, is timing different than Saudi Arabia?
No, it's the same.
Okay. So read, dear.
From the beginning?
Yes. The Lord of the Rings. So this is a title.
Can you zoom in a bit?
Do you know how? Can I zoom from a side? Do you know how I zoom in a
my
site?
laptop I just in the keyboard يعني هيك you make with your finger up.
Maybe you have Apple, right? Because
No,
Apple
it's
already.
you can touch two times and then this will get you zoom.
With those three dots, you can maximize. With the three dots, see.
المشكلة النت قوي اللي فاتحة 4G فهمتي؟ هو الصوت كان بيطلع، شوفي بيطلع الصوت بس ما
بتقول mute.
Title of the essay, The Lord of the Rings. So never forget the title, girls. So here, an analysis of The Lord of the Rings. I bet you it's a novel, okay? And I bet maybe some of you have watched the movie.
Yes.
Okay. Read ya ahead.
The Lord of the Rings. Some stories can affect people emotionally, but once in a while a story can call a person to escape to it. The Lord of the Rings is an enchanting story with masterful use of setting and sensational characters that engages readers and can move to the experience life in a deeper way. As a child, J.R.R. Tolkien lived in Africa until his father passed away. Then his mother moved to England. Mrs. Tolkien made certain that her children learned literature and languages. It was probably due somewhat to his mother's influence that Tolkien became who he was, an author and a linguist, Corday.
Okay, thank you, dear. Here, we said we start with the grabbing. So many of you used to grab with a question. Yes, dear.
بس هني بس أنا كتير معلق عندي ما يعني أعطيني connecting وما فيني لا أطلع من الكلاس ولا شيء، فمش ترضيني برا الكلاس عشان أقدر أدخل.
You can't see anything. You are here but you can see.
بس حاطت لي connecting، أنا ما أصلا ما فكيت المايك، فشو اسمه؟
طب
ما بقدر لا أدخل لا أطلع أعمل ولا شيء.
I will mute you. Okay, so many of you used to grab with the question. Okay, where are we here? To grab with the question, but here he is grabbed with a statement that some stories can affect people emotionally, but once in a while a story can call a person to escape to it. And then what is important to be mentioned, girls? The what and what? What is important to me mentioned in the introduction of the essay. What and what?
Thesis statement.
Yes, what is before the thesis statement? The author.
Catcher.
I said the catcher. I said the hooker. The title and the author. Title and author. So he mentioned them as what? The Lord of the Rings, and he continues. Where is the thesis statement here, girls? Where is thesis statement?
It is last one.
Where is it? Read it, Serena.
And
Or think of it again. يعني think again whether it can be a thesis statement or not. Think, please.
Is it? It was probably due somewhat to his mother influence.
So he talks about his mother's influence.
Yeah,
Is it
that
just
Tolkien
one?
became who he was. An
How it
author.
will be related to literary analysis? I'm
The
not
Lord of
analyzing his. Huh?
The Lord of the Rings is an enchanting story with a masterful view.
Excellent. The Lord of the Rings is an enchanting story with masterful use of setting and sensational characters that engage the readers and can move them to experience life in a deeper way. Teacher, he says the thesis statement at the beginning of the introduction, it happens. You can mention it at the beginning of the introduction, of course, after a grapper. But why? He preferred to start with the title and he mentioned the thesis statement and then at the author. It's okay. As long as the thesis statement is clear and he mentioned the two things he will discuss. What are the two things he will discuss in the body paragraphs? What are the two elements of literary devices that he is analyzing?
settings,
Setting
and sensational characters.
and characters. He will analyze setting, characters. Actually, he will analyze also the language. But he focused more on the characters and the setting. And he said that can move them to experience life in a deeper way. So look at the expressions he used so they can use them in your writing. You understand?
Yes.
Okay. So I will create the assignment for you today to start writing your final draft.
When is it
So
due?
this, I will give you like 10 days or a week.
Miss, about what should we write?
Analyze any novel, any story, any excerpt, any song, any poem, anything. Any piece of literature you can analyze. Yes, dear.
You're analyzing the book itself or about the author?
We don't analyze, we analyze how he used literary devices.
Okay.
So here he will analyze the setting and the characters. So let's see what would he say. So this is the thesis statement. Okay, thank you. Ahad, Arwa?
Yes,
Yes, read Arwa.
from Tolkien.
Yes.
Tolkien had a special interest in obscure languages, even to the point of creating his own. He called it High Elven, and often in his stories he used the language. Tolkien also invited an entire world called Middle-earth where the Lord of the Rings takes place. Because he invented this world, it had to bow to his will and rules. He was an accomplished linguist, and this greatly helped his ability to vividly portray and create in the reader's mind Middle-earth, a place that no person has ever been courting.
Excellent, thank you. So here he said he has a special interest in obscure language, even to the point of creating his own. He called it High Elven, and often in his stories he used the language. Here he has invented a new word called Middle Earth, where the Lord of the Rings take place. So it's sitting. It's sitting. And because he had invited the setting, The setting should bow to his will. So here he talks about the language that he used it in calling the setting or the place Middle Earth. Look, he was an accomplished linguist and this greatly helped his ability to vividly portray and create in the reader's mind. So you can use it if you want to apply it to image. You can use. He was an accomplished author, and this greatly helped his ability to vividly use the imagery in creating or drawing the picture in the reader's mind. Okay. Thank you, Arwa.
Miss, can I go to the bathroom?
Yes, please. Then Aya Benjak. Aya, girls, I have to excuse you for only half a minute. Wait.
Mommy.
Sorry, girls. I'm so sorry. Hello. I'm sorry, girls. My daughter had a class and I forgot to wake her up. I'm so sorry. Okay. So we continue.
Miss, your family went to Egypt?
Yes, they came yesterday at dawn.
Oh, nice.
Yes, because yes, alhamdulillah. So that's why they slept late in this. Okay. So I had to wake them up. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Okay. So we continue. Aya Benshak, are you here? Aya? Dima?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, dear. Continue.
From charters.
Yes.
Charters define settings as the place and time of the story. Also, according to charters, when the writer locates the narrative in a physical setting, the reader is moved along step by step toward acceptance of the fiction.
Yes. Continue.
Tolkien's setting gives the reader a sense of goodness or malevolence.
Malevolence. Look, setting here, he talks about it, gives the reader. So, look, girls, how did he create the sentence? Tolkien's setting gives the reader a sense of goodness or malevolence, unlike an environment that is, So here, how he talks about the setting. Please focus, because you can use it in your writings. Continue, Dima.
Unlike an environment that is removed from the work, Tolkien's setting sometimes is the story. Possibly the setting could even tell the story if there were no characters. For example, in the house of Elrond of the Elves, Frodo's experience is defined by the settings. He, Frodo, found his friends sitting in the porch on the side of the house looking east. Shadows had fallen in the valley below, but there was still a light on the faces of the mountains far above. The air was warm, the sound of running and falling water was loud, and the evening was filled with a faint scent of trees and flowers, as if summer still lingered in Elrond's garden.
Yes. So what are these? What are these sentences? These are what?
He's describing the setting.
Yes. He's describing the setting. And he is doing what else? Giving examples.
Yes.
So when I want to talk about the setting, about the plot, about the characters, about symbolism, about foreshadowing, I have in the body give what? Examples of the excerpt or of the novel. So he says the setting gives the reader a sense of goodness or malevolence. So I have to go and bring and say, for example, in all of that. So I have to support in each body. I have to write examples. One example, two examples. You understand? I feel like you're lost. Grade 11. We are just applying what we took.
Yes, teacher, we understand.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dima. Layal, are you here, Layal? Tia?
Yes, miss.
Yes, Tia, read Tia. Tia.
Yes,
Serena?
miss. I can't hear you. You're lagging.
Oh, I'm lagging. طب wait a minute, Grace, to change the network.
Miss, you're not.
Miss, we can hear you.
Let me
Maybe
change.
Maybe it's from my internet, miss.
Okay, so Yani, you can hear me well?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay. So read Tia.
Yes. This describes a peaceful place that is not quite reality. The rest of the world is moving into winter, but Elrond's gardens haven't realized that yet. Next is another example of how Tolkien uses setting to create a picture that could not be
Another
obtained.
one. Another example. Teacher, we write one example or two. We write in a one body. It is preferable to write more than one. We write two examples, but if you want to write one, it is okay, because our excerpts are short a little bit. So here he said again that he uses the setting to create a picture that could not be obtained by just explaining the scenery, and he is able to bring a place to life. Look, with words. So you can use this, that the setting brings life to the he is able to bring a place to life with words, to bring the setting to life. So this you can use. And he then brought an example. The company spent the night in the great carnivorous hall, and here is an example. Okay, continue, Tia.
This description is one of dread and fear, but like the experience of Elrond's house, it's filled with word pictures. It tells the reader that this place is terrible and that some evil is afoot. Of course, Tolkien received criticism, as all writers do. For instance, Burton Raffel takes the opinion that his Tolkien's description often failed to create sense impressions needed to make language more deeply felt and more deeply worked. Raffel also claimed that Tolkien's nature descriptions are frequently somewhat overwrought.
Yes, thank you, dear. Okay, we're here. Lojane,
Yes, miss.
here, continue.
Okay. Still, I maintain that
Wait a
Tolkien's
minute. The only mistake I take for this essay is I maintain, because he mentioned himself. He could have said that still. He could mention Tolkien's extraordinary ability. He could have not mentioned himself. I maintain that. So don't use this ever. Go again to still Tolkien's extraordinary ability to paint a picture. There is no need to mention himself here because it's non-formal. Okay, informal. Continue, dear.
extraordinary ability to paint a picture with words takes the reader into a place they've never been and still manages to keep them following the story.
Look how he says about the setting, that he takes the reader into a place they have never been and still manages to keep them following the story, which is great. An author to take the reader to a different world. Continue.
The characters that Tolkien artfully created ascend the setting and bring them further to life. This is an attribute to a great setting. Charters explains that setting must also have a dramatic use. It must be shown or at least felt to affect character or plot. All through The Lord of the Rings, the setting is imposing feelings onto the characters. Example, fear, dread, peacefulness.
Continue.
The Charters describes characters in literature as the people who make something happen or produce an effect. And
So now we will talk about what he finished talking about the setting. He will talk about what? The second point in his essay, thesis statement.
The characters.
Yes.
And explains that the characters must come alive. Tolkien received criticism on his characters by Raffel as well. Raffel feels that there is too little meaningful truth about human reality in our own existences in Tolkien's characters. Catherine Crabb seems to disagree with this statement. In her efforts to describe
here are opinions of some critics who criticized the work of him. Okay, like Catherine, like Charters. These are critics who criticize him.
In her efforts,
sorry, not Charters. This is Raffel and Catherine.
Okay. In her efforts to describe the characters as heroic, she also shows us they have some very modern human characteristics. Crabb says that Frodo is neither stronger than most men nor braver than most. He is selfless in his love for his companions. If there is not enough meaningful truth about human reality in Tolkien's writing, then maybe it is because he portrays a picture of ordinary people at their best. The heroes in The Lord of the Rings do not succumb to evil. They do not inadvertently get caught doing good. They are selfless. Isn't this exactly humanity at its best?
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Lojain. Mariam?
Yes, Miss.
Yes, read, dear.
Middle Earth is a place where the spirituality of a person is closely connected to the reality of the person. Tolkien's characters are not mere people. Each has a position and a job in the universe.
Look, girls, how he used expressions. Spirituality of a person is closely connected to the reality of a person. Characters are not mere people. Mere means just. Continue.
Each has a position and a job in the universe as well, something to make them heroic and larger than life right now. To Sam, whose purpose it would seem is to guard and protect his master. This is evident throughout the book, but especially at the end of the Fellowship of the Ring, when Sam, now understanding what might lie ahead, insists on going with Frodo. The characters show that not just anyone is able to complete this quest. It requires a specific person for each job. For example, there is a reason that Tom Bombadil cannot take the ring even though he is impervious to its power. Fate has chosen Frodo. In so doing, Tolkien creates a story that even the average person can relate to. It propels people to see the possibilities of greatness.
Frodo and Tom are characters in Lord of the Rings.
In doing so, Tolkien creates a story that even the average person can relate to. It propels people to see the possibilities of greatness among the commoners and restores our hope in the great ones. Almost anyone can find at least.
Look how he says it instead of our hope. And restore hope. Instead of our. But look how he says it. It propels people to see the possibilities of greatness amongst the commoners and restore hope in the great ones. Almost anyone can find at least one hero among the fellowship. Great way of analyzing. Thank you, Mariam. Thank you, Habibti. Nancy?
Teacher, in the homework, can we analyze a show?
What show?
Any show.
The show they use the literary devices?
يعني a film.
A film, yes, a movie, yes, you can. But you do not analyze for me the stage direction and this. And in the movie, you have to analyze stage direction. Here, it is Yeah. A movie that you've read and you analyze the book itself. Can you? But in a movie, it's
know,
different. You
the
analyze
movie I
the.
saw, but
Huh.
the book itself.
Okay, yes, the book of itself, not the movie, because the movie has other devices to analyze, like the lighting, like the stage direction, directing, acting.
So, Miss, can I
Okay.
talk about the film as if it was a book, and talk
Yes.
about the director as if he was a writer?
Yes, literary
Because I
devices.
don't think
Yes.
I've read a story like this.
Yes.
Teacher,
Yes. Yes.
you have to read a book to analyze it.
No, dear, as you want. An excerpt of what we've taken this year.
So how can you know the literary devices you written in it? How can you know?
We analyzed them in literature. Remember when we analyzed the repetition, opposing
Yes,
words?
I know, بس إنه أخذ بالي إزاي, Like how can I notice them?
Uh, we answered them together.
لا,
if you want to analyze a new one,
yes, exactly.
you read it, and then you see what are the two most or three most literary devices that attracted you. Did he use imagery? And he describes with literal details. He describes the smell. He is very skillful in using imagery, or he uses symbolism. So it's up to the excerpt itself or the story itself.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome, dear. If you have any question, ask me anytime. Yes, Nancy. Nancy, you read, or I called your name to read?
Miss, you just called my name. I didn't read.
Okay, dear. Read.
One of the things that makes The Lord of the Rings so compelling is the way the setting and characters work together to produce the ultimate effect. The characters make the setting even more potent. As the external setting influences each character, the reader sees how the struggle becomes internal. We are led to believe that the characters are closely connected to the earth. The diversity of the setting and characters simply propels us to see the uniqueness of each place. Where a group of caves might give us one thought, hearing Gimli discusses the majesty of his cave experience helps us to appreciate the diversity of the group and see through a cave dweller's eyes. These are not holes, said Gimli. This is the great Roman city of the Dwarodalf, and of old 'twas not darksome, but full of light and splendour, as it's still remembered in our own songs.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Nancy. Nirvana, read from here.
From The Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
Okay, The Lord of the Rings is essentially a story about the struggle good versus evil. The setting helps the story personify the difficulties the characters face. The characters go through the trials and share their feelings of fear and triumph with us. The two work together to make an excellent portrayal of external and internal struggles that seemed otherwise impossible.
What are you reading here, Nirvana? And Nancy too. These two parts is what? Two paragraphs are what?
Body?
No,
Serena, it is at the
conclusions?
end. Conclusion. He states the main idea in different words.
Conclusion be more than one body?
Yes, actually the essay could be more. I'm giving you the minimum body paragraphs. But it is, if you look here, it's like 8 body paragraphs. Okay?
يعني
here,
it's okay to write conclusions more than one paragraph?
It's okay. It's okay as long as you write 7 body paragraphs. But if you write 3, make it only 1. يعني we take the minimum of the essay, the minimum version of essay. He stated the main idea. He restated the main idea. Struggle of good versus evil. The setting helps the story personify the difficulties the characters face and this. Okay? Sarah Halak. Sarah? Sarah? So what's here, girls? Serene? Serene?
Yes,
Serene?
teacher.
What's here, Serene?
Where?
Here, in front of you. What's
Work
that? Cited.
Work
What
cited.
is that? What is that, Serene? Serena.
Yes, ma'am.
Teacher,
What
it's
is that?
locations.
The place where we bring
The information from. The sites that we get our information. He should mention sites. When you search, he search for what critics say. Here, when you find it between two parentheses. Okay, girls?
Okay.
So are you ready to write yours?
Teacher, honestly, I think like it will be a bit hard. It's
No,
different.
it will not be.
Yani, this method is kind of different this time.
Miss Nada,
Yes,
when
it
is
will.
the due date to submit?
From a week to 10 days, I will create the online assignment to you. Okay, I'll stop recording and you go to your 5 minutes